What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Corey Willis. Hope everyone out there is doing well on a Sunday evening. Hope you guys enjoyed week 5 of the college football season. There's a lot of great games out there. So overall, guys, I hope you all are doing well on a Sunday evening out there. As always, guys, we appreciate you all listening to the show. You know where to find us. We're on multiple social media platforms. You can find us on X, Instagram, and on TikTok. You can just type in BD Sportscast, and you can find our content there. If you want to listen to the podcast, of course, we're on podcast format for you good folks out there. You can listen to us on a bevy of your favorite podcast applications, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, you name it. We're on there. So be sure to listen to all of our past and present episodes on there. And also, we appreciate you guys tuning in to the live stream here on our official YouTube channel or on our official Twitch channel at Breakdown Video Game Cast, where Chris and I are playing some video games there. So yeah, guys, definitely leave a like, comment, subscribe to our content, subscribe to our channels. It's definitely important for Chris and I as we continue to grow this show and grow this community as we keep moving along in the world of college football for you all. So as always, guys, we very much appreciate you all's support with the show. As always, guys, you know who I'm with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Just still coming down from what was just a chaotic, crazy, sensational weekend of college football. We got upsets, near upsets, field stormings. I mean, we got everything, everything you could ask for this weekend.
You name it, tramplings, all of it. We're still trying to figure out, what happened to that corner and that wide receiver from Florida State.
Yeah, we try to. We gotta make sure Boo Carter is okay.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know if I was watching the football game or the Lion King for a second. Boy, it got ugly out there.
Oh my God, that was scary. It couldn't have been me in that situation. I think I would have panicked as soon as I saw them feet rolling. I would have been rolling with them, boy.
Oh man, but I did see that someone tweeted out that Boo Carter was okay. In the aftermath. So we do have that information. So it seems like everybody made it out okay, unscathed.
Well, that's good. That's good. It's funny. I'm just making a little joke. I did see online that Boo Carter was just fine. He was walking, on his own volition. He was just fine. He got to see the loss, and he, from the other side,
Man. But like seriously, that's the fastest field storming I've seen in my life.
Yeah. Those students, they've been salivating for a moment like that. They've never tasted.
Yeah, no, that was
run out to the field.
That was quite the visual. The shout out to Virginia. Talking about Virginia and Florida State, the hill. I think more schools should have the hill. Just seeing everybody packed together, waiting for the game to end. That's a unique experience they got going on over there in Charlottesville.
Absolutely. So yeah, it was a great weekend, Chris, and that was just on Friday. So
yeah, that ain't including Saturday.
Right? Yeah, it didn't even include the Saturday. So yeah, a great weekend overall, Chris. Are you ready to delve into some of these games over the weekend?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, we want to hold you on long, folks. Of course, we know you got some Sunday night football to watch. Of course. So, week 5 is in the books, Chris. A great weekend, indeed. We'll go ahead and kick it off with a great game in Athens. Between the hedges, Georgia bringing in Alabama. Georgia, what was it, 33-game win streak? At home win streak? Yeah, am I correct? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, got snapped. Alabama won this game, Chris, 24-21 was your final in this ball game. Ty Simpson had a big day. He looked good. This whole team, whatever happened from the beginning of the season, Chris, with seeing, Alabama losing to Florida State, they've corrected a lot of things over there in T-Town, Chris. And if you're Kalen DeBoer, you got to be pleased with what you saw over the weekend with this Alabama team. Like they look poised. They look like they were on a mission, and they took care of business. Ty Simpson, he was 24 for 38, 276 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also got 1 rushing as well. So just a big day overall, Chris. And shout out to Kalen DeBoer and that staff by putting in a great game plan to beat Georgia over the weekend.
Yeah, no, they definitely they were the team that executed at a higher level, and you have to give Alabama credit for doing so. I mean, they came in with a great game plan. You saw Coach DeBoer and his staff getting their bag, going their Duffy with some of the play calling, the Caden Proctor screen pass on the sidelines in the red zone, got them right there for the touchdown. Plays like that, digging deep and finding ways to score and make plays when you're in that red zone, things get real tight. And so Alabama was the team that executed in the red zone. You saw Georgia, some problems, some flaws, rear its ugly head for Georgia. 4th and short, right tackle doesn't execute on the block. That allows the defender to come in, and you're unable to get a first down. And it looked like Cash Jones had a chance to get a touchdown if that play is executed properly late in the ball game. So definitely shout out to Alabama. Big win for the Tide. There are a few things to clean up. We did see Ryan Williams have his struggles. Busted open the coverage and dropped the pass. But overall, Alabama stayed focused and did what needed to be done to leave Athens with a victory in what was a hard-fought game. And it's always a hard-fought game between those two teams, but especially on Saturday night.
Absolutely, Chris. Yeah, I mean, it just shout out to how Kalen DeBoer, got this team together to win this ball game. Isaiah Horton, he had a touchdown. He had 5 receptions. Guys stepping up, Chris. And, that was something that me and you had been talking about, and everybody had been talking about for weeks. Guys stepping up, guys actually, leading this offense and the defense as well. To victories. You got the talent, you just got to put it together. And we saw that on Saturday by taking care of business against the Georgia team that just a few weeks ago escaped Rocky Top. And hey, just a big win, big statement win overall. You still got to come out the following week. You know what happened last year against a really good Vandy squad, a Vandy squad that this year that they want to replicate that. They want to replicate what they did to you last season. Now you can put this game to bed now and keep focusing on getting better. What I'm seeing right now is a team that has an opportunity, Chris, by season end to potentially go to an SEC championship if they play their cards right and they handle their business. So we'll see what happens, but overall, I was pleased with what I saw from Alabama. On the flip side, from Georgia, there's definitely some issues, with this team. Of course, they're just not consistent enough, especially defensively. We can start defensively. They're just not. They're not scary enough, especially in that secondary. I think they could get torched a couple more times this season, Chris. They still got Ole Miss on their schedule. They got a couple of games on their schedule. If they don't get right, there's some teams out there that can bite them. Texas is still on the
Yeah,
schedule.
yeah, no. There are some teams that can bite them, and they bite themselves too. You talked about the secondary. We can go on the offensive side of the ball. You got your explosive play that was right there for the making, and you drop what looked to be a walk-in touchdown. Would have been like a 60, 65-yard touchdown. You can't have these mistakes. The blocking in the trenches, and being inconsistent there. Frazier fumbling, right there on your side of the 50. So there are plays that just you're seeing that aren't typical of a Kirby Smart team, but like I talked about pregame, we discussed pregame about how Kalen DeBoer and his teams have been on the road and how this dates back to last season. These problems that we're seeing from Georgia date back to last season too, Corey. These are some of the same flaws we talked about before that are continue to rear its head. So it's Georgia's really going to have to buckle down because the right team can expose them as the season continues. Just like they didn't get the L against Tennessee, but Tennessee has given teams the blueprint as to what you can do to make life tough for this Georgia team and ultimately, get a victory.
Agreed. Agreed, Chris. So yeah, I mean, it's it's definitely crunch time now. If you're a Georgia Bulldog, now like you you squeaked out of Rocky Top with a victory. You didn't squeak out of this game at home with a victory. You lost your home win streak, and now it's back to the drawing board if you're Kirby Smart and company. Schedule's not going to get any easier. Definitely got some trap games on the list. How do you respond? How do you respond after a loss like this against a team that you haven't really had your number against them all the time, but man, they
No, Alabama has their number.
yeah, they have your number. They have your number and they have your win streak, your home win streak. So
Whether it's Nick Saban or Kalen DeBoer, the tide have been rolling against Georgia.
absolutely. So yeah, got some work to do in Georgia. So like I said, how will you respond? Long season ahead. It's crazy, Chris. We're already halfway throughout the college football season, so you don't have many more games left to kind of have that cushion per se. You got to win now.
Oh yeah, we in SEC play, we're in conference play. It's
Absolutely.
now. It's go time.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, anything else you want to add to this game before we move on to our next game?
No sir.
All right. Well, moving along, Chris, from one SEC matchup to another, we are going to head down to the Grove, Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss hosted LSU to town on Saturday. And what do you know, Chris? All the talk you had daughters and opposing linebackers on the other side of the field. You had trolling. Look, you had hottie toddies. You had everything in this game. And if you're Lane Kiffin, you got a W, 24-19. You beat LSU. Trinidad Chambers strikes again, Chris. This quarterback's for real. And if you're in tune with the SEC, or even if you're not in tune with the SEC, you should, because this guy is playing some SEC football.
Trinidad's the truth. Ole Miss, sneaky, really good team, man. Lane Kiffin gets a signature win. This is a big win for this program. It's You did get a big win last year against Georgia, but you got this win as an undefeated team. And I think this is kind of your arrival and let everybody know, no, we are a serious contender for the playoffs now. After knocking off an LSU and defending home field, and now you're in good position going forward for the rest of the season. Just got to take care of business, and then in this game, Corey, it was something to see. Those problems we talked about with LSU's offense. Oh man, boy. They just continue. I got to go look at that press conference. I need to hear what Brian Kelly had to say because he didn't want to answer questions about the offense before. I bet his ass answered them about him on Saturday after that loss.
Look, if you're trying to duck and dodge questions about your running game, your offense in general, after a game like this, an abysmal game, we got some problems, buddy. That's all I gotta say. How do you try out an offense that is as lethargic as it can be, and you don't bring anything to the table? You got some lucky breaks at times in the game to even score. Just a bad offensive performance if you're an LSU fan, Chris. Like you can't win in this league with offense like that.
This is LSU. I think we have to come to terms with that. This is the offense. We had our discussions preseason about how talented this offense is, and all the pieces that were brought in the portal. But that Clemson game, that Clemson win, has proven itself to be funny money, Corey. That's not an impressive victory at this point. And LSU continues to struggle. I think this is who they are. If they win, it's going to be because of the defense. So things have to get figured out, and figured out in a hurry, especially for Brian Kelly's sake and LSU, because a lot of the fan base is that questions why we didn't make any changes with the coordinator. What's going on with the offense? Why is Nuss regressed? Nussmeier has regressed. That's not the same guy from last season. I don't know what the hell's going on out there in Baton Rouge, especially on that side of the ball. The defense did its job, made life tough for Ole Miss. You held an Ole Miss team to 24 points, Corey. They put up a lot more than 24 points. And if you told me Ole Miss will only have 24 before we found out who actually won, I would think LSU figured out a way to win. Still, couldn't muster up 25 points. It's a bad omen, brother.
Bad omen indeed. And with the schedule you have, it's not gonna get any easier. It's just not. It's definitely not. So, look, they got a lot of work to do over there in Baton Rouge, Chris, because they have to play Vanderbilt. For what it's worth, the news came out. Sam Pittman's going. He's out at Arkansas. They still have to play an Arkansas team. That's one of your rivals, Golden Boot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
you gotta play Oklahoma.
You gotta play Oklahoma. The hits just keep coming, and you have
Alabama.
Yeah, the hits just keep coming, Chris. I don't know how they survive this schedule. This is gonna be tough. This is definitely gonna be tough. Will. And hey, if you're Brian Kelly, no more excuses. No more, lashing out at the media anymore. That's done. You gotta figure things out. Because before you know it, you'll start looking at the schedule. You'll start looking at the win-loss column. You're not gonna be making it to any SEC championship or college football playoff. Look, the best you got is probably the Belt Bowl, the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah. It's you got to figure some things out fast and in a hurry because, like I said, that Clemson win doesn't look so shiny anymore. So
nope.
Even if you were to go 9-3, is your 9-3 better than the next man's 9-3? That's to be determined. So and the boosters, the alumni didn't pay all this money for this year's team to not make the playoff. So yeah,
Exactly.
you got to get this figured out right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta figure this out right now because it can get ugly really, really fast, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of that kind of a season. If you're an LSU fan or if you're Brian Kelly at all, you already came into this season with people doubting you. Now the doubts are back. How do you respond? That's all I can say, Chris. So they got some work to do. We'll see what happens with LSU. But I have to say this: hats off to Lane Kiffin. Hats off to Ole Miss. They got the job done by beating a really good defense at LSU. And I saw the AP top 25, Chris, number 4 in the country right now. They haven't been that high since 2014. That's really good.
Huge win for the program. Huge win for Lane. Like
Yeah,
so, now for us to really see how far Ole Miss has come along. Now that you are ranked so highly, how do you perform with everybody boosting your head up? So now that's the next test. So we'll see. We'll learn. Continue to learn more about Ole Miss. Everybody sees you as a top tier team. Can you continue to prove that week in and week out?
absolutely. So with that schedule, Chris, I mean, you got Washington State. Well, you got a bye week that you got to go through first, and it couldn't come at a great time, I guess. And then you have to play Washington State. Yeah, you should win that one. 2 back-to-back away games at Georgia, at Oklahoma. I mean, look, you've had Georgia's number last year. Could you replicate that again? We'll see. We'll see what happens. If you can, probably the season, the biggest game of the season will be Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. That if you can if you can squeak out of Athens with a W to get ready for that game, oh my gosh.
Man, you got me over here thinking. Georgia's got to play Ole Miss. I believe Georgia also plays Mississippi State,
Yeah,
Auburn, Georgia Tech. Boy, Georgia's got them a little bit of a gauntlet of a schedule over there, low key.
they do. They do. It doesn't get any easy. It really doesn't get any easy, Chris.
Life in the SEC, boy. Ain't nothing like it.
Exactly. Look, there's no excuses. Of course, you get your wins where you can get them, but you get losses. Of course, no one's gonna feel sorry for you. You still gotta go back out and play against some tough physical teams out there. That's just that life in the SEC.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But anything else, Chris? You want to add to Ole Miss LSU before we move on to our next game?
No, sir.
All right. Well, moving along on today's show, we got Ohio State taking on Washington. They had to travel to Washington, Chris. Ohio State, they won this game soundly 24-6 in a really tough environment. Me and you had talked about this game in terms of just the environment that Washington brings. Of course, sometimes the Huskies, they can get you in their home turf. But Ohio State responded well in getting the W. And, hey, they're sitting pretty right now, 4-0, 1-0 in the Big Ten, Chris. Julian Sayin had a pretty good day, 22 for 28, 208, and 2 touchdowns in this ball game. So what were your thoughts about Ohio State's victory over Washington on Saturday?
I feel like it was a poorly officiated game, but I'm not going to say that isn't the reason Ohio State won. But Ohio State did take advantage of the officiating. Um, but I was impressed with Julian Sayin. I feel like he's proven himself to be a very composed QB, a playmaker. He was making the right reads. Um, whether it calls for throwing the ball downfield or the pressure's in the space and you find your outlet, whether it's your tight end in the flat, running back in the flat, or dump, a quick hitter to Jeremiah Smith and let him do the rest. He plays some really good football. Um, but I hate that officiating has been so poorly this season in so many games. A tight ball game, 3rd and 20. Ohio State's about to have to attempt a long field goal to give himself a 2-score lead, and the referees call a phantom roughing the passer. And the guy hits him in the shoulder pad and doesn't use the crown of his helmet. It's not a roughing the passer play. And it gives Ohio State a free first down, 15 more yards. They take advantage and score 6. Ohio State's already one of the top teams in the nation. You just hand them first downs, boy. I mean, that's a tough break for Washington. But, Ohio State did what they needed to do. When you're put in those positions, it's up to you to take advantage. Ohio State took advantage like good teams do. And they continue to prove why they are one of the best teams in the nation because they're very well balanced on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. They're just a really, really good team. I mean, defending national champions, Chris. I know what you mean. Like the referees at times definitely did, give Ohio State some lucky breaks, of course, in that ball game. But overall, you gotta give your hats off to this Ohio State team by just responding and being in the moment each and every game. They're the defending national champions. Some teams would kind of get on that high horse and kind of forget that they have a new season or that it is a new season to play. Not these guys. They've been balling. They've been handling their business. Giving the ball out to different playmakers on the field, and hey, it's paid dividends. So you got to give credit where credit's due. They're playing some good football right now.
Exactly.
So but great win by Ohio State indeed. We will see what's next for the Buckeyes. They have to travel to Illinois, Chris. I mean, in a game where realistically, we thought that this game, and look, it may still be. Illinois, definitely had a stinker of a game. Illinois could still be everything that what we thought they would be. They have an opportunity to get Ohio State in their home turf, so we'll see.
That's going to be an interesting game. Back-to-back road battles for the Buckeyes. And I'm sure this place will be rocking as well. Anytime Ohio State's in town, this is the biggest game of the year. So that place will be packed out, sold out, and should be a fun environment.
Absolutely. And especially after, getting a top 25 win over USC over the weekend. I think, the focus is going to be there with number one coming into town in Champaign.
Exactly. Yeah, that's for sure.
So we'll definitely have to get ready for that one on one of our future shows ahead, Chris. So it should be a fun one. Anything else, Chris, you'd like to add to Ohio State Washington before we move on?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, our final premier game of the week, Chris, we had a game in 2 overtime. Sorry, folks, if I remiss to put that on the screen. But, this game went into 2 overtimes. We had Penn State hosting Oregon. A big game in the Big Ten, Chris. Had to be a winner. In the end, Oregon squeezed out of Happy Valley with a victory. 30-24 was your final in this ball game. And hey, how about Dante Moore, Chris? He was 29 for 39, 248 yards through the air and 2 touchdowns. This man was balling in this game. And for a guy that sat last season for Dylan Gabriel,
Mm-hmm.
only to come in this season to be QB1, he's definitely picked up this offense from Dan Lanning. And look, he has the keys to the Mercedes right now. Like he is the man of this offense, and Oregon's they're cooking right now, Chris. So you got to give hats off to Dante Moore, to Dan Lanning by getting him and his offense ready to play and battle in moments like this. This was a big victory for them, indeed.
Yeah, definitely was. Big credit to Dan Lanning and his team finding a way to win on the road, whiteout game, over 100,000 screaming Nittany Lion fans rooting against you. You got the victory. That's all you can ask for. It wasn't the prettiest game, wasn't the most memorable game. It's a good battle, though. Both defenses came to play. At the end of the day, Corey, James Franklin going James Franklin. And it's another big game that Penn State fans were hoping to get the win, and you don't get the victory. So, death taxes and Penn State losing big time games, man. It's just unfortunate if you're a Penn State fan, but that's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is. Things would never be the same. Sorry to quote Tupac, but it's the truth, folks. He keeps losing in these big games. I don't know what's going on with. Well, I do know what's going on with James Franklin. I won't. I won't sugarcoat it. They're just not executing where they need to execute, Chris. And there probably is a lot of regret on the message boards for Penn State fans right now in terms of Drew Allar being there and Bo Prabula being in Missouri now. I'm sure that talk has been ravaging Happy Valley for weeks now, and it reared its ugly head again, Chris, where Penn State has an opportunity to win a big ball game like this, and what do you know? They drop it. I mean, it's what nothing else you could say. It really isn't.
Yeah, I mean, this is Penn State. You can beat the teams you're supposed to beat, but can you win the team that is looked to be evenly matched or better than you? We struggle to see them do that on a consistent basis. You would say they got a nice draw in the playoff last year and took advantage. But then once everything was a level playing field, we see how things play out. So, what else can we say about it, Corey? It's just kind of this is what Penn State is, and also this is who Oregon is under Dan Lanning. It's a tough team. They're not going out without a fight, and even when it doesn't look like things are lined up for them to win, it's a tough ball club. Dan Lanning's a Nick Saban guy. He comes from that tree, from that pedigree, and Oregon continues to eke out victories. So credit to the Ducks, and if you're Penn State, back to the drawing board.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's back to the drawing board now again. If you're a Penn State fan. And gosh, Chris, I mean, at some point you got to be tired of this. You have to be tired of being that close into beating some of the best teams in your conference. Heck, Oregon, they just got in this conference and you still can't beat them. You still can't beat teams like Oregon. What makes you think that you can beat anybody else of significance on your schedule? And then when you look at the schedule, Chris, I don't want to harping on it too long, but you trying to make yourself as this battle tested group. Nevada, FIU, that's Florida International, folks, and Villanova was your first 3 games before you even got to this game. How's anyone supposed to take you seriously when you're playing teams like that?
And you're not beating them handily, soundly. You show cracks in the armor, and of course, you lose this one. So
Yeah. So
that's Penn State for you.
it's Penn State. It is Penn State indeed, Chris. And yeah. What else can you say? That's just what they do. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe maybe we'll find out later in the season that they've learned from all of these mistakes, of course, and they somehow mustered up something to win some big ball games. I mean, you got Ohio State on the docket in a couple weeks. They're really good. They're the defending national champions for a reason. So hey, we'll see what happens. But
We will.
definitely another loss for the Nittany Lions over the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else, Chris, you want to add to this game before we move on to our next game?
No, sir.
All right. Well, technically now we're about to head in to some of the other games over the weekend, Chris, because we did have quite a bit of them. We'll go ahead and start off with Florida State and Virginia on Friday night. This game, as you can see, folks, in fact, it did go into overtime. It went into 2 overtimes. And would you look at that? 46-38, Virginia won this ball game in a shocker. I don't think anyone saw that coming, Chris. I know I didn't.
Yeah. I didn't either. I thought this could be an interesting game just because it was a Friday night game, a conference game.
Yep.
But to sit up here and tell you, yeah, I thought Virginia was going to win. No, I didn't see that. But man, that was a great game. That was almost the best game of the weekend. There was a couple more that found a way to top it, but that was a sensational game. Virginia, just a great game plan. Everybody stepped up. Quarterback made some mistakes, but he made plays when plays were there. Just an all-around great team effort to take care of business on home field, and you have put yourself in prime position to be able to ultimately make the ACC championship game, Corey. They are a player officially.
Yeah, they definitely are, and hats off to Tony Elliott. This guy was a staple of Clemson football for a while. Brought you in some high-powered offenses. The Trevor Lawrences of the world, Deshaun Watsons, Travis Etienne. I think he still has like the record of the most rushing yards in Clemson history. So, he's a guy that I don't want to sound like Chris Collinsworth, but here's a guy. Tony Elliott is definitely a guy that comes from that hard working coordinator, position coach and tree under Dabo Sweeney. Took this job, and yeah, I'm sure that there was some people out in Virginia that didn't think that this would be an opportunity that he would seize the moment in, that maybe they would look to someone else if it took too long, and they stuck with them, and look what happened. They got a big ball game down there that they won over the weekend. doesn't get any better than that. And it just shows that, hey, sometimes you keep a guy, the journey is the journey, and sometimes you just gotta you gotta roll with the punches at times. It's not gonna be, as easy as, a lot of fans may hope for it to be. But, that's the reason why you play the games. That's the reason why, these coaches go out and recruit some of the best of the best to, build a roster, to win these kinds of moments. And, hey, Virginia took care of that. So, hats off to Elliott and his staff by, getting the job done in this game. It was a great game overall.
Definitely. Definitely. Like you said, you got to trust the process. Let these coaches cook. Everything isn't going to be an overnight success. So we'll see how they respond to success. And, can they continue to play the ball that it seems they are capable of playing? Because I like what I saw from Virginia. I think this team, they have a chance to win the league. You got to put them toss them in the bucket of like the 6-7 different teams that can win the ACC.
It's funny now. Like you can actually just put everybody's name in like the little hat now. Is more and more teams starting to kind of add up in that little hat. You can just scramble in the ACC. Yeah, I'm loving it.
Just close your eyes, put your hand in, pull a name out. You don't know who's going to win it. It could be Georgia Tech. It could be Louisville. It could be SMU, Miami. Florida State could still mess around and win the conference. I mean, we just don't know, Corey.
Who knows? Who knows? But, I have to say, we came into the season, Chris, looking at the Big 12, a conference that we love. It's always wide open, and it's still wide open. But man, this ACC race right now, it's pretty deep right now. Even Louisville has something to say about that.
It's just as chaotic as the Big 12. It looks like
it is. It definitely is. Hey, I'm all for it. I love some good chaotic football that isn't in the Big 10 and SEC as well. So bring it to me. Exactly. So yeah, man, a big win for Virginia by taking care of business. And hey, we will see what happens with this team going forward this season. So I have to look at the Cavaliers' schedule. The next game, they have a game against Louisville. It's going to be a big one. So hey, I'll definitely tune into that one. That might be a early leader in Bolton's bets for Week 6, Chris.
We'll see, man. That both teams are playing well. I might just have to watch that one.
Yeah.
Louisville did mess around and get the comeback victory against Pitt. So they are no joke as well.
Right. So hey, that'll be a fun game. Can't wait to watch that. Chandler Moore's company. And shout out to him. Guy was a warrior.
Yeah, he is a warrior. And they got a platoon of backs out there in Virginia, man. I mean, like that team is like 3 deep. You bring in Xavier Brown, who's like the receiving back. He caught the wheel route for the TD. They got some ball players over there.
Yeah, Harrison Whaley, Jamari Taylor. That whole crop right there. You know what? Looking at their roster right now, they got some backs on there. They are messing around with house money right now in the running back position.
They got him, man. I saw Xavier Brown in high school. That's a Lexington kid. He played at Lexington Christian, LCA. You could tell he was different. And
nice.
Look at him now, doing his thing at Virginia. So that, like you said, man, Coach Elliott, he can recruit. He's finding them. He gets the gems.
Yeah, he is. That's why he was one of the greatest, recruiters in America, and that definitely boded well in him getting a head coaching job in the end. So hats off to him hats off to his coaching staff, and we will see what happens with Virginia. Well, moving along, Chris, of course, we don't want to take too long out of you good folks' schedule out there. If you're listening to the show, we appreciate it. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the video, to our channels, of course. It definitely helps us out. We are going to move now, Chris, to Stark Vegas, Mississippi. A big one in Starkville. Mississippi State hosted Tennessee. This game ended in overtime, Chris. Just a bevy of games that ended in overtime this weekend. 41-34 was your final in this game. Tennessee escaped Stark Vegas. They escaped the Cowbells. I'm sure they're still ringing in Joey Aguilar's ears. But, hey, man, he probably rather take that with also having a W at the end.
What a game. That was the game of the weekend. I know there's so many others that were being played, but if you got to watch this one, you saw an absolute classic. Both of these teams are legit. Tennessee is a step ahead. You could tell Tennessee was the more talented roster, Corey, especially in the trenches. D-line specifically, that D-line is the reason they won the game, and also Mississippi State's lack of talent on the at the offensive tackle positions specifically is the reason Tennessee ultimately found a way to escape with the victory. But credit to Tennessee, they will possibly make the playoffs. I think Tennessee is right there, even though they lost to Georgia. Tennessee looks to be one of the better teams in the country and one of the better teams in the SEC. They should be a problem as the season continues. But I got to give some love and credit to Mississippi State. This team is leaps and bounds better than last season. 2-win team last year. This team can play on any given Saturday with anybody in the SEC. And is as dangerous as they come. And they have their guy with Jeff Leddy. State has their guy. It feels very much like the early Mullen days. You see the growth just in a matter of one season. And as the horses continue to come in, Mississippi State will grow to be more and more of a problem. But what a game. An incredible game.
Incredible game indeed. Yeah, they definitely have their guy down there in Starkville. All they got to do, they got to just add some more pieces at this point now. You got to shore up those tackle spots, specifically left tackle. And I think the sky's the limit at that point for this team. So if there's anybody out there counting out the Bulldogs, I wouldn't count them out for a long while. As they keep continuing to grow and build over there, I think they're going to be just as good, if not better, than what Ole Miss is putting out there on the field. And I say that.
Oh, Miss.
Saying the quarterback that's sitting behind Blake Shapen right now.
Man, it was tough seeing State get to the goal line almost, get to the 4-yard line, first and goal, and no Camario Taylor at all. Those last 4 plays, you feel like you needed to unleash him at least one of those downs to try to run it in or use him as a decoy and the Tebow pass, something. But when he gets to be the man, because Blake Shapen, I feel like it's a stopgap quarterback, hold it down for the season as Camario develops. Camario is he's going to be a problem, Corey. The league better get ready for him because he's catching the eye of scouts already, NFL scouts.
Yeah,
and he isn't even the full-time guy yet.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was listening to our good friend Brian Haydad and Robbie Falk that does great work down there in Starkville, covering Mississippi State. And they had mentioned Green Bay Packers scout person was there watching the game, and they saw Camario Taylor, and they jumped out to see almost. They're like, oh, who's that guy?
I was trying to see what that guy was I see somebody out here 6'4", 230.
looking like
freshman,
looking like Cam Newton out there.
18, 19 years old and built like Cam Newton, man.
with
Hey,
Lamar Jackson intangibles. That's scary.
it's scary. It is scary. So, yeah, man. I mean, if you're Mississippi State, you're going to burn his red shirt. You might as well get your money's worth out of him and use him. Use him throughout the season. Make him a true weapon in this offense. He ain't got to be the quarterback, but at least make him a weapon. So I'm sure Jeff Levy, he will figure things out because he seems to know what he's doing, even though he's a young second-year head coach. I feel confident in what he's cooking up in Starkville.
Agreed. So yeah, it was a great win for Tennessee. Tough loss for Mississippi State. Mississippi State still trying to get a win in the SEC. Just hold on, Bulldogs fans. You're gonna get some wins.
It's coming.
It's coming this year. So
yeah, it could come this week.
It could come. Just saying. But yeah, a great game indeed. This is why we watch college football, for great games like this. And we'll see what happens with both of these teams as the season progresses. So yeah, and our final game, Chris, that we'll go over in week 5. We had another game in overtime. This game happened earlier in the day. Wake Forest and Georgia Tech, 30-29 in overtime. I watched this game, Chris. Georgia Tech, they held on to win this game at the last minute. Just a gutsy win. We always talk about Brent Key and winning these gutsy games, Chris. These down to the wire, gritty games. Man, this team has what it takes. They can play against anybody. I am convinced that they can do it.
When you got Haynes King quarterbacking your team, and he doesn't mind putting the team on his back, carrying the team literally 21 times to be specific in this game. He does whatever it takes. He just has it. And this Georgia Tech team, scrappy, even when they don't play their best ball, they find a way. They find a way. Wake Forest, a great game plan. It's a great ball game. Robbie Ashford, you may question what would have happened if Robbie Ashford didn't get hurt in this ball game and had to miss a few possessions. He ultimately came back, but his absence was felt for Wake Forest because he was dynamic in this one. He looked like that guy that was recruited to go play at Auburn or South Carolina. Like these top. He was in the SEC. He looked like an SEC player in this ball game, and so credit to Wake Forest for they brought it out of Tech. Tech had to go win it. It was not easy by any means, Corey.
Not at all. So I was impressed to see Wake Forest's grit in this game. Going against a team like Georgia Tech, but I was equally impressed with Georgia Tech by holding off in this game, by not allowing Wake Forest to, make a big moment against them.
How big of a bummer would that have been to lose the same weekend Florida State? You see Florida State let go of the grass for the ACC, and then you would have followed that up with a big L yourself, and then you have at that point Miami sitting pretty, boy, with their legs folded, hands behind their heads, feeling good. Look at y'all losing.
And they don't even have to take a vacation. They're already in Miami. You're going to go to the Key West?
Oh, just man. Saying. But yeah. No, you're right. But yeah, credit to the Jackets. It wasn't pretty, but it's a W.
Absolutely. So yeah, Chris, great week of games indeed. We didn't even get to mention, Texas A&M, getting a W against Auburn over the weekend. Just another rough game from the Auburn Tigers. Man, Hugh Freeze is going to have to do something about Jackson Arnold, because right now things aren't going well in the Plains, Chris.
Hey, we play college football. It's looking like when the scouting report is finished for Jackson Arnold, after you have 100% scouted him, it's looking like one of them red. Was it like the red mark that shows that you a bust? It ain't a gem.
The red rubies.
Like a red ruby to the side of Jackson Arnold's name right now, because I don't know, brother. He look like a running back playing quarterback right now.
Man, I think we should have saw the signs in that Baylor game. I'll just say, we should have saw the signs. We were too late on it.
Yeah. He's fully scouted out now, though, and everybody sees it now. They say he is a bust.
Yeah.
You gonna have to work his magic, boy.
Oh yeah, now he look at this point now. I think we should start expecting to see someone like Deuce Knight walk out there. We talk about Kamario Taylor and the way he looks. Deuce Knight equally looks like that. So
yeah,
it's gonna have to be some decisions being made now, Chris. That's all I'm saying.
You ain't lying, because he was coaching for his job.
Mm-hmm.
And this is loss number 2.
Absolutely.
You got Georgia still on the schedule. You got Alabama still on the schedule. It ain't easy. It ain't easy.
No, it's not. It's not. So, no one's going to feel sorry for you about losing in the SEC.
Nah.
And you gotta go out and get it.
And everybody in Auburn's like, we paid. It's on you now, player. We did what we were supposed to do. We got you your receiver, your quarterback.
It's time for you to win. Yeah. Yeah, you got to go out and get these wins, brother. Like, we're not gonna get the wins for you. That's not how this works. That's not. Look, that's not in the contract, Rashida. That's just not. That's a deep cut if you're a lover of hip hop. Oh man. But no, it's just a crazy weekend indeed, Chris. We got a bevy of week 6 games, so we'll definitely dig deep and look at those games later on in the week. But a great week 5 in totality. You had some near upsets and some games where some teams actually showed up and showed out, and now we can really see a lot of where some of these teams are headed now as the season progresses.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, now, Chris, before we head out of here, we have Chief of the Week for Week 5 of the college football season. Chief of the Week goes to none other than Ty Simpson of the Alabama Crimson Tide, Chris. I had to give it to him. I had to give it to this brother. 24 for 38, 276 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. And he also carried the ball, 4 times for 12 yards. And he did get a touchdown run in that game. And he ended the game with a 90.1 QBR. So, look, great game by Ty Simpson. You could see after the game, he was very emotional. You can hear his voice cracking. Man, after the weeks that this Alabama Crimson Tide team and staff had got, in terms of people not believing in them. Do you believe now, Alabama fans? Do you believe in this team now? And look, I gotta quote the one Deion Sanders on it. In this case, do you believe? I believe.
You I believe he played great. I believe he has proven himself to be the guy. You know, he's going to give Bama their best chance week in and week out of winning. And so, big up to Ty Simpson. You know, you have to tip your cap to a guy who goes on the road and improves himself, grows up, steps up right in front of our eyes. And so he played big time ball, and Bama, you know, you have your QB. You can rest assured. Ty Simpson is.
Agreed. Agreed. Like he is your QB, and hey, you should ride with Ty Simpson till the wheels fall off. So, look, hats off to that young man by getting the victory over a Georgia team that had a winning streak at home, and cementing your name into the many names that have destroyed Georgia on the gridiron. So yeah, man. But yeah, overall, Chris, just a great weekend of college football. We got week 6 of college football coming up. So yeah, guys, we hope you all join us on the Breakdown Sportscast, where we get a chance to break down some of those games and give our predictions coming up this weekend. So it should be a fun one. But before we head out, Chris, we got some outros. Let the good folks know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so you can holler at your boy on X, what I call Twitter, Chris_Bolton_12, and also on Instagram at Chris.Bolton_. Holler at your boy.
Awesome. And yeah, folks, follow me on X. I'm at Listen to KSW. I'm on there talking college football, of course, professional wrestling, a whole nine. So yeah, definitely follow me on there. But yeah, guys, we appreciate you all listening to the show. Like I said at the beginning, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the show. It's definitely important for Chris and I as we continue to grow this community, this great community that we built. And hey, definitely follow us on all of our social media platforms as well, as we continue to bring in some great content for you guys. So yeah, guys, overall, we appreciate you all listening in to the show. We'll be back with another episode on Friday, talking about week 6 of the college football season, getting you prepared, giving you guys our predictions on the week that is going to be an even more special weekend of college football. So be sure to be tuned in to that. But until next time, I'm Corey Willis. He's Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We will chat with y'all later. Peace.